Hello everyone and welcome to the channel. I'm Emmanuel, I'm an Airbus pilot, and in today's video we are going to fly the Fenix A320 once again. We are currently standing in Christchurch and we're going to fly it right over to Queenstown, which is a beautiful quick half-an-hour route in New Zealand. Also, we've got quite a special livery over here with the Air New Zealand Lord of the Rings livery, which is just really beautiful. We're going to have a closer look at it in a few moments once we are actually going to do our walk around. But for now, join me in the cockpit as we're about to start our preliminary cockpit preparation in order to start powering our aircraft up. So masters are off, start lever norm, and weather radar is off, calibrated and auto. Okay, gear lever down, wipers off, battery voltage greater than 25.5. So batteries on, external power on. Let's go ahead and do the rest of our setup here. So the RNP is on 22.8 for now and the speaker is up, and then we can do our APU fire test, which works, and then let's go ahead and start up the APU. So 3 seconds and here we go, APU started. Okay, so RS mode selectors are going to nav 1, 2 and 3. Cockpit lights, we can turn them all off, we don't need any of those lights today. Like so. And then let's go ahead and go for our electronic flight bag. So importing the flight over here, departure, well, in 11 minutes, we're probably not going to make that. Let's delay that straight away. Going for 35 over here, update that. 21 minutes, that is looking much better. For our flight plan then, if we have a look into the weather briefing, we've got a little SIGMAT over here from level 100 to level 220, and that is severe icing forecast. But we should only transit through that today, shouldn't be too much of a problem. Apart from that, weather in Queenstown is looking good. Couple of clouds here, but only few clouds in 1,300, then scattered in 3,100, so it should be alright for our flight. Now, going a little bit further down, Christchurch as our departure airport is listing good conditions. Okay then, so quick look into the significant weather chart. We do have some light turbulence forecast over here. Not too much of a problem. Okay. Perfect. So with all of that taken into account, I would say if we take the planned takeoff plus the taxi, round that up, we take 5 tons of fuel, should be more than good to go. Okay, so let's go ahead and order that up. Planned fuel is going to be 5,000. Here we go, apply and load, and you can use GSX for that, please. Alright then, so what's our planned takeoff weight with that? Let's say 57 tons if I'm not mistaken. No. It's 62 roundabout. Okay, so let's see. Christchurch. Synchronize the latest weather. 23010. Runway 20 should be correct if I'm not mistaken. Let's have a quick look into the Navigraph charts. Currently sponsored by Navigraph. Okay, so here we are, runway 0220, so it's going to be a runway 20 for our departure. Okay, runway 20, surface condition dry, optimum, no toga, anti-ice off, packs off, takeoff weight, what did we just say, 62? Yeah, 62. Okay, calculate that. Flaps 2 takeoff 70 degrees, 29, 30, 32. And we should be able to do that with 1 plus F as well. Yes, we are. Okay, that's all looking good then. Then let's finally take our charts out. Outside 1 Quebec departure. This is a little bit of a leftover in the Airbus SOP from the time where you actually used paper charts, where you would have prepared everything, but they still have it in the SOP that you prepare your charts early, so that is what we do. Okay, so we're category Charlie and Delta aircraft speed restriction. Maximum 220 until 6,000. If unable to comply, advise ATC prior to startup. So that one we have to remember over here. That is gonna be a little bit uncommon. Alright then, next thing, aircraft acceptance. So, recall 21, 22, 23 is normal. That's looking good. We have nothing in the logbook. In terms of aircraft configuration, we've got IAE engines fitted over here. Apart from that, nothing special. And there are no OEBs. Okay, so oxygen pressure is looking good. Hydraulic quantity is looking good. Engine oil quantity is looking good. Flaps are retracted. Ground spoilers retracted. Let's test the alternate brake system. Park and brake off, brake pressure is okay, and park and brake on. Can also monitor what's going on in the back there. Okay, so quick pre-initialization of the FMS. Flight init data request, go ahead please. And here we go, thank you. Then we can also go ahead and request our weather. Christchurch, Meta, send. And finally we've probably received a preliminary load sheet. Yes, we have. And the weather 1009. Alright, looking good. In terms of the load sheet, let's check that. That's Christchurch to Queenstown on the Oscar Alpha Bravo, and of course that's not what we're sitting in. Lovely. Well, we'll ignore that for now. 2 and 4 is correct. 2 pilots, 4 cabin crew. Limited by maximum 0 fuel weight. Takeoff fuel is looking good. And the CGs are looking good as well. 145 passengers forecast today. Okay, 100% portable water. Fuel in tanks 5,000. Looking good. We'll accept that as well. Okay then, so that's pretty much our initial preparation completed here. Let's go outside and do the walk around. And as I mentioned, this is just a beautiful aircraft with a Lord of the Rings livery. Awesome job by the repainter as well, really have to say that. Okay, so AOA gauges, static ports looking good. Going down to the landing gear, that is looking good as well on both sides. Okay then, pitot tubes are looking good, static port is good, there is no general damage to the plane. Tap probe and ice detectors looking good down here as well. And so is the static port. Just beautiful, isn't it? Okay, looks like they haven't even started loading yet. Cargo doors are in a half open position. Engine is looking good. The fuel truck is just about finished. $1,530. That is not quite cheap for a little bit of gas. Okay, so bottom of the engine is looking good. Whoopsie. I once again forgot to turn on the lights, but we're used to that by now, are we? Alright, the landing gear is looking good. Is that guy standing in the engine? Okay. Well, so the landing gear is looking good. No sign of any damages or anything the likes. Now just look at that beautiful artwork on the airplane here. Airline to Middle Earth. I just love it. Only those cargo door elements here are a little bit, well... but okay. Nonetheless, it's a nice livery, isn't it? Let's see it from the other end side. I'm sure on the other side it's looking better. Yeah, just look at that beautiful artwork here. I really like it. I really do. The nicer thing though is that they used actual images from New Zealand for it and nothing out of, well, nothing out of the movie is relative, but you know what I mean. Okay, the landing gear is looking good. Then we can move. Whoopsie. Then we can move on. Trailing edge of the wing is looking good. Aileron is hanging down a bit because the hydraulic system is not pressurized. Okay, look inside the engine. Everything's good. Look below the engine. The hatches are closed. Look in front of the engine. And the leading edges are looking good. Alright. That plane is looking beautiful and is ready to be flown. Okay, so temperature 11 and probably what's it looking like in the cabin? 30 degrees. I really don't get why. Anyway. Batteries are charging just fine. Fueling is complete, so we can turn the pumps on. And the engine fire test. That was a strange moment when the sound of the engine fire test just interrupted the beautiful boarding music, wasn't it? So, 30th of April. Looking good. That's also good. Weather radar is pre-selected. Transponder, squawk, 2000. Set to the left side and above. Looking good. Alright then, straight into the FMS. 320-200 IE engines. Current database. And then requests. Scratchpad messages, of course, are taken into account before I clear them. Okay, ANZ643. Cost index 28, cruising at flight level 260. Okay, well, ground temperature 11. We're going to do an uplink in a few moments anyway. Okay, so Christchurch, departure runway 20, and we've got the outside one Quebec departure. And it's going to lead us to Gooput. Here we go. Okay, and for the arrival in the Queenstown, we might just have to check that a few moments later. So, planned runway 23. Let's see what we have there. I do believe Anna Foxtrot is the one, but let's confirm it. So, RNP Foxtrot. No, that's not it. Golf? That looks like it. From Atkill. Yeah, that does seem to look rather correct. What's the hotel looking like? I think that's actually the one we're gonna fly. The Arnav Hotel. Apart from that, we would have the Arnav Zulu 23 with authorization required. I tell you what, that one looks so nice. We're gonna take that. RNP Zulu 23. Here it is, Arnav Zulu 23. Alright, awesome. Then we've got the Elruf arrival. Elruf for Bravo, and that one ends in Atkill. Okay, that is looking good. So then,
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome on board our flight. Please place your large bag into the overhead lockers, wheels first, and keep your small items under the seat in front of you. These include laptops, handbags, duty-free and loose items of clothing. If you are seated in an emergency exit row or a front row bulkhead seat, all of your items must be placed into an overhead locker. Once you have safely stowed your cabin bag, please take your seat. To help us ensure an on-time departure, we would kindly ask that you keep the aisle clear, enabling all remaining customers to board. Your seatbelt can now be fastened ready for departure. This is a no-smoking service.
Right, thank you for that, PA. Okay, what's the actual runway track over here? 196, okay. I was a little bit confused by just looking over here. Normally the first track over here should have been the runway track. Well, 195, 196, yeah, it's okay. So, MSA 5.3, I don't really believe you, my friend. If we go out over here, well, 3000 should be just about fine, shouldn't it, in this direction? But okay, they say 5.3, then we climb to 6000. Not that I would like it, but... What's that? I think I broke it, huh? Okay, nonetheless, it took it. Interesting. Okay, so for the return, it's going to be an ILS 20. Okay then. So, we don't need anything on the radios as far as I recall. No, we don't. Well, that is not correct. Ignore that. Okay, so we did get a preliminary load sheet already. Let's see what those numbers were again. No, not you, but you. So, 56.9. And a CG at 32.9. 5,000 kilo block. Average wind component, headwind 10 knots. And finally, for the fuel figures, 1.9, 1.1, and 0.3. Here we go. Alright, minus 0.1 is okay. Let's go ahead and request the latest wind, see what we're going to get then. That was fast. Okay, still minus 0.1, that's okay. These values are all rounded up. If we take it exact, then our fuel is looking good. Okay, so then... Flaps 1, 70 degrees, 35, 35, 36. Something like that. Okay, reduction in acceleration 1100, engine out 1600. Not that these 10 feet difference here would make any difference, but nonetheless, let's do it exact. Okay, and finally we've got the speed restriction, 220 below 6000, so let's go ahead and pre-select that. Okay, and that is it. So there is no initial climb published, then we'll just take 6000. So quick check out the flight plan. Track 211 in Mount Atzat. And that is indeed 211 in Mount Atzat. And thereafter we proceed towards Goophood. And that's it. Okay, awesome. That was about as easy as it gets, huh? Okay, awesome. So we're done with this. Then let's go ahead and go for the departure briefing, please. Right, your turn. Cool, so it's going to be Christchurch, runway 20 on the ATSAT 1 Quebec departure. Initially climbing 6,000, which we just cleared ourselves for, and the MSA is 5,300. Extra fuel and time, we are looking at about 0 over here. Okay, I do agree with that. So we do not have any hotspots for the taxi. The stop margin for rejected takeoff should be plenty. Unfortunately, there is nothing in our calculator still, is there? Yeah, looks like it. Okay, so we don't know exactly what our stop margin is, but at this weight there should be plenty available. For an engine out, we climb on the runway track, 6,000 feet altitude, and in case we need to make an immediate return, the ILS approach runway 20 is pre-programmed on the secondary flight plan in here. Now, we are under the maximum landing weight, so we can return without any additional checklists or anything. Special operations, I've pre-selected a climb speed of 220 knots over here to meet the speed limit that we have on our departure chart of minimum 150, maximum 220 until 6,000. Okay. Apart from that, I have nothing special. What threats do you see for our departure? Well, to be honest, I don't really see any threats on this one. No, nothing. Yep, that's just about perfect. Same here. So just taking a moment here. They haven't started cargo loading yet. Let's just quickly figure out why that is. Might just have to reopen those cargo compartments. Let's do it like that. So, what's going on now? Here we go. Now they're working. Well, better late than never. Even though we are definitely gathering delay like that now. But nonetheless, well, so be it. That's certainly going to be a little bit of delay there. Does anybody of you know why this is happening? Like, is there any problem with the recent Fenix version or something? Or what exactly is causing this? Well, so be it. If that is happening, then I will just take a quick shortcut into the cabin. Now, if we have the time available, I would absolutely just go through the cabin over here, say hello to the business class passengers if you have any, and, you know, maybe interact a little bit with the flight attendants, or chat a little bit with a couple passengers. They usually really appreciate when pilots are coming to the cabin, on the ground that is. In flight they do tend to get a little nervous. So it looks like our boarding is actually completed over here. The jetway is closed already. But, well, so be it. In that case, we might as well just do our PA from right here. Well, now they started theirs. Alright, what's our cargo loading doing? They're done with the first one, very good, so they will start with the second soon, then we should be ready in a few moments. We'll just wait for the cabin to finish their announcement, then we do ours. Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, a very good afternoon from the flight deck. This is your captain speaking. My name is Emmanuel, and in the name of Air New Zealand, you're very warm welcome aboard our flight 643 to Queenstown. Flight time today, approximately half an hour at an altitude of 26,000 feet. We do have a little bit of turbulence forecast on our flight today, so therefore we ask you to keep your seatbelt fastened whenever you are in your seat, even if the seatbelt signs might not be switched on. In a few moments we are going to start our pushback from our gate, and we're expecting a short taxi out today for a runway 20 departure into a southerly direction, followed by a slight right-hand turn into the direction of Queenstown for a direct routing over there. We expect to cruise at an altitude of 26,000 feet, or approximately 6,000... make that 7,000 meters today. And we do expect some marvelous views on our approach into Queenstown. Now, with that, I would like to ask you to take your seats, fasten your seatbelts, and listen carefully to the cabin crew safety demonstration that is going to commence shortly. That is not just for your own safety, but also for the safety of the other passengers sitting around you. Once again, you are all very warm welcome aboard, and we are just finishing the last loading of some luggage, and then we will make our way for Queenstown. We would like to thank you very much for your attention. Sit back, relax, and enjoy the flight with us. If there is anything we can do for you to make it more enjoyable, please do not hesitate to contact any of our charming flight attendants. Thank you for your attention, and welcome aboard. Again, another nice service when you can do your announcements from the back, as passengers, you know, I'm not really used to seeing pilots very much, so typically when you do that, they really appreciate it. Right, so the second van is loaded. They just started loading the last one. Perfect. We should be good to go any moment. Alright. Cockpit preparation checklist, please. Gear pins and covers removed. Fuel quantity 4,960 kilogram balanced. Seatbelts on. ADIRS. nav Bajo reference QNH 1009. Cockpit preparation checklist complete. Let's see, did we get a load sheet yet? No. Okay, external power can already be removed. By this point we should probably have gotten our IFR clearance, so let's just put some random squawk in here. Okay, and then we should hopefully be ready soon. Let's just open the received messages page on the right side already, so that we get our load sheet as early as possible. Okay, you guys can remove the aft stairs already. So, cargo is almost loaded. And then we should be good to go any moment now. I just love those charts. Aircraft loaded. Awesome. So, waiting for the final load sheet now. And here it is. So this would normally be the point where the leading flight attendant comes in and tells you, hey, boarding's completed, can we close? Then we tell them, yeah, you can close. And if it's a short taxi, then they would we would also inform them something like, yes, you can close the doors, so we are done over here, we'll start in a moment, and it's going to be a short taxi today. Now, obviously, they still need to perform their entire safety demo. Nothing around that, but Sometimes, you know, they take a little bit more time or a little bit less, or maybe a passenger asks if they can go to the toilet during taxi. Stuff like that is handy to know for the cabin crew. Okay. So then let's have a look into the load sheet. 56.8. That is 100 down. That's okay. And 31.2. Okay. Pretty much 5,000 in the tanks there. Zero fuel CG 29.9. That's a down trim of 0.4. Had that often enough that we know this one by heart by now. Okay. So, takeoff weight 61.6. And that's what we have. 145 passengers plus 1 infant. And then we can leave the pack flow selector in norm. Okay, awesome. So we are basically good to go like that. Connecting the tuck right now. Perfect. Hello, New Zealand 643 request push and start. Stand 20. Okay, push start approved. Runway 20, New Zealand 643. Before start checklist. Park and brake. Set. Takeoff speeds and thrust. 135, 135, 136, flex 70. Windows. Closed. Beacon on. Before start checklist complete. Ground from cockpit. Go ahead. So, please confirm doors and hatches closed, ground equipment removed, and bypass pin is installed. Yes, sir, that's all confirmed. Roger, we're cleared for push and start. Facing runway 20. Park and brake set. Release park and brake. So that's gonna be nose left. Park and brake released. Okay, starting the push. Let us know as soon as we can start our engines, please. Roger.
Cabin crew, arm doors, cross-check.
Okay, company 320 on the left and company ATR on the right. That's good. As long as nothing is behind us, I'm happy. Flight deck from ground, you're clear to start engines. Roger, starting in sequence 2, then 1. Engine 2 start. N2.
Ladies and gentlemen, please observe the cabin crew member closest to you as we are about to demonstrate the safety features of our Airbus A320.
Perfect, they're starting the demo.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome aboard our Airbus A320. Please pay attention to illuminated signs and crew instructions, including the following safety procedures. The safety card found in your seat pocket contains important information about exit routes, oxygen masks, life jackets, and the brace position, which you must adopt if you hear brace, brace. There are 8 emergency exits on this aircraft. The cabin crew are now pointing.
Okay, we've got a good start in 2, we are starting 1. Roger, and the push is complete. Set your brakes, please. Brake set.
Guide you to the exit. In an emergency, leave all baggage on board. Your seatbelt is fastened, adjusted, and released as shown. It must be fastened whenever the seatbelt is lifted. We recommend that you keep it fastened at all times. Air supply fails. Masks drop from above you. Pull a mask towards you to start the oxygen. Put the mask over your nose and mouth. Normally,
Okay, we've got 2 good starts. You're clear to disconnect. Show me the pin on the right side, please, and have a wonderful day. Bye now. Alright, the pin is seen in the front after start checklist. Anti-ice, off, ecam status, checked, pitch trim, 30%, rudder trim, neutral, after start checklist complete. Okay, clear left side, clear right side, let's go for taxi. Brake check, pressure 0. Okay, flight control check. Full up, full down, neutral, full left, full right, neutral, rudder. Full left, full right, neutral. Okay, back to idle and off we go. So you can delay the flight control check a little bit in the Airbus until you have started the taxi. You only got to remember then that you must not arm the auto brake, so you must not set him to max before you have conducted the flight control check. Otherwise the spoiler deployment during the check can cause the auto brake to trigger and to violently bring the airplane to a stop. When that happens, especially while the cabin crew is still conducting their safety demo, you can be 100% assured that it is not going to have a nice outcome. So, therefore, if you delay the flight control check, it does save a little bit of fuel, of course, since you're standing for a little bit less time. But if you do that, then always think about the cabin crew and think about your auto brakes. Okay, so we have no changes to the takeoff briefing. Everything stayed exactly as it was. Just waiting for the cabin to get ready then. So, going a little bit downhill here. Let's just slow it a little bit further. Here we go. So, brake set, lights off, and now it's waiting for the cabin. Let's see, is there anything on the approach? Doesn't look like it. Okay. And the departure is looking clear as well. So, weather from active sky in live active mode. Not passive, but active mode. So active sky is directly controlling all the weather. For the SID itself, you can see we got this DER20 point. DER stands for departure end of runway. So that's basically the end of the runway over there. So the end well, the departure end, that's the term for it, as a non-native speaker that did sound a little bit strange to me, like departure end of runway, approach end of runway, but approach end of runway is this one. Departure end of runway is that one. And they want us to overfly the runway exactly on the center line until we are permitted to start a turn. And for that reason, you've got the DER point in here. So basically departure end of runway, and you can see it is marked as an overfly waypoint. So they want to be completely sure that we actually overfly that before any turn. Okay, so cabin is still not ready. What are they doing? Ah, talk about the devil, here I am. Hello, Emmanuel in the bird's nest.
The cabin is now secure for takeoff.
Thank you. Okay, taxi checklist. Flight controls, checked. Flap setting, conf 1 plus F, radar and predictive wind shear, on and auto, engine start cell, norm, econ memo, takeoff no blue, taxi checklist complete. Cabin crew, prepare for departure. So, 20 seconds from turn of the packs off until we can set takeoff thrust, shouldn't be a problem. The windsock is right down the runway at less than 5 knots. Awesome. And we have nothing on the TCAS. Perfect. Lineup checklist. Takeoff runway, 20 full length. TCAS, TARA, packs 1 and 2. Off, lineup checklist complete. Okay, clear on the right side. And clear on the left side. One guy's just vacated there, it seems. So, 20 seconds are easily over. Take off. Manflex 70 SRS or runway auto thrust blue. Thrust set. .100 knots. Checked. V1 rotate. Positive climb, gear up, nav, checked. So you can see speed selected 220 over here. In other words, as soon as we retard the thrust levers, we're going to get a selected speed of 220, which is what we pre-programmed on our climb page. So, thrust climb, climb, auto thrust. And you can see the speed target is now selected 220. A little bit of cloud there, but plus 13 degrees, so we don't need to worry about icing. Flap 0. Speed checked. Flaps 0. And the second pack is on as well. Beautiful. Okay then, we're on the way. What a beautiful plane it is. 1,000 to go. Let's dial that up a bit. We're looking for level 260 for the cruise. And here it is. 26,000 blue. Checked. Passing 6,000, that means we can accelerate. Manage speed. So when you've used the pre-select feature, all it does is to go into selected speed here, and that's it. So when you want to continue accelerating, just push it in for managed speed, and there you go with a standard 250. And that's about as easy as it gets. So, passing at that. So, target track 216. We are flying 216. That is beautiful. Okay, what's the transition altitude again? 13. Perfect. So we can do a little bit more hand flying here. Usually in the real world I do like to hand fly until after the acceleration at level 100. Of course, depending on the circumstances and the situation. Like in the A330, that can be some 10 minutes or so. So, you know, depending on the workload. It's always... If one colleague is hand flying, it's always quite a bit of work for the non-flying pilot as well, so for the pilot monitoring, because they need to monitor while doing all the PM tasks as well. So, you know, usually I do like to hand fly very much, but sometimes if it's taking too long, then it might just be a good idea to put the autopilot in just to reduce the workload of your colleague. And of course, when there's lots of traffic, stuff like that, then of course you put it on as well. After all, hand flying is great fun, but we're still there for a job, and the job is obviously safety first. So, in my opinion, whenever you can hand fly the plane sensibly, do it, because it is your job to be as safe as possible. But when there's things like lots of weather, lots of traffic, etc., just put the autopilot on, because then the safest course of action is no longer practicing your hand flying skills, but using the maximum resources available to you. Okay. So, this is pretty much looking good now. Autopilot 1. Set standard. Standard cross-check passing flight level 134. Now. Checked. Okay. Let's release our passengers. Okay, clear and copy. So, cruise 260, optimum 360, max 398. Alright, looking good. Then let's go ahead and grab our weather. So, Queenstown weather request is sent. Beautiful, that message display is still empty. This one is better. Okay, so 1709, 10 kilometers, scattered 1600, broken 2100, 9 degrees, 1010. If you remember the earlier weather forecast, then you might have noticed that the cloud ceiling is actually descending. Let's see what the minimum for the approach actually is, just to be sure that we can actually fly it. So, Queenstown, RNP Zulu 23, minimum is at 1538 above the ground. So that one in the brackets down there. This one. And if we check this, we've got scattered 1600, so it's scattered just about at the minimum. That might turn out an interesting approach. That might indeed turn out as a very interesting approach there, seeing the weather just about close to the minimum. But I do believe that is the one with the lowest minima that we can find, so take it from there. Not much that we can do about it. It's not an approach ban, since we are technically within limits, but it is just about as close to the limit as it gets. And that obviously while flying in a very mountainous area, which Queenstown is, so, well, that makes it interesting. That makes it interesting for sure. Okay, you have control. I will go ahead and start our approach setup already, because there is quite a bit of stuff we need to do actually. Starting right here at Elruf for our star. Okay, let's see that. Arrival procedures. After landing, remain on 18.1 and taxi as instructed by tower. Contact delivery only if you require parking information. Light aircrafts, not interesting for us. It landing if tower is off watch, not our problem. Personnel requiring access through security perimeter to and from light aircraft. Okay, not our problem either. Okay, so caution. Surrounded by mountainous terrain. Visual illusions on approach to runway 23 and poor visibility due to surrounding mountainous terrain and runway elevation above elevation of ground under final approach. Turbulence is experienced in most wind conditions. In strong southwest airstreams, frequent turbulence and wind shear occur on approach. So that might be interesting for us. It's not strong southwest winds, but nonetheless, turbulence is experienced in most wind conditions. Let's see what Active Sky is actually going to do with that. Okay, apart from that, the rest is not really interesting for us here. Requirements. Our airline obviously made sure that we are allowed to operate here before they put us onto the flight, so let's not deal with that. Okay. So then, from Elruf to Rampu above level 150, which is an ATC restriction, but we got it in anyway. And then on towards Ekvox above 10,000 and on towards Atkill. And we've got Atvox 10,000, Atkill also 10,000. That is looking good. So then, onto the RNP Zulu 23 chart. Now this one's getting interesting. So from Atkill, waypoint 780, 8,600. And we do have that. From there, on towards Togox, 8,600. 770, 7,500. And that's 1,000 to go. Speed, vertical speed. Okay, thereafter, Adverb 6,700, 760, 5,100. Then Apexa 4,200, Laraf 3,300. And we have all of those. And thereafter 745, 741, 735. And we have all of those, and finally 725, and then the runway. What else do we have? Minimum 2,709. Climb via the RPAR missed approach track to November Victor VOR. Okay, and that is going right through the, right over the water. Okay, Mach Alt Star. Well, let's go ahead and have a look at that as well here. Alt Cruise. Okay, so we've got 727, carb up above 3,200. And indeed, that is what we have. Thereafter, we continue via Nolov at or above 4,000, 732, max 145 knots. We got a 150 in here. Suppose that is close enough, is it? Yeah, I mean, within 5 knots, we don't really care about that. Okay, thereafter via Rucksack at or below 9,000 towards Belpy. So we've got Rucksack, Belpy, and thereafter we continue over here, 878, Omlel, Sungu. So we've got 878, Omlel, Sungu, and over Sungu we have a holding published, and thereafter 890 and November Victor. Okay, the last ones are not part of the plan. Looks like the plan terminates at Sungu. Well, that's good enough for me. Okay. So that's pretty much this. Climbing to 10,000 feet with an intermediate 9,000 restriction. Missed approach requires climb via at VGA to 4,000, at 4,000 accelerate to 145, remain flaps. Ha! That's interesting. Look at that. Remain flaps 15 and do not exceed 145. Well, that, my friends, comes straight from a 737. Tells us something about the charts that Navigraph obtains and where they probably come from. Well, from Jeppesen, we all know that, but looks like these are actually tailored for a 737 operator. Seeing the flaps 15 note over there. That is certainly a company chart. And not, you know, a public one. It does say copyright Jeppesen. There's no reference to any company on here. But this is definitely a company chart. Definitely is. Okay. Well, so at least we now know that our FMS is correct. So let's go on here. We don't need any nav 8. Runway 23 is in already. Perfect. So 293 looks okay. Well then, let's go for the weather. So 170 at 9. Temperature 9. And QNH 1010. Okay, minimum 2709. Config full for sure. And engine out acceleration on missed approach. Well, 11.4 is the 10,000 within 15 miles. So yeah, it's actually 10,000 then. That means flying the entire missed approach without accelerating on single engine. But if that's necessary due to terrain, then so be it. There you've got one possible reason for why this is an AR approach. Because operators probably need to develop some specifics then on how to meet these requirements. That's a typical reason for getting something as an authorization required. Okay, fuel is looking good. Secondary flight plan, copy active. And then let's have a look at our runway itself. 1777, so not too long. Let's go ahead and run some calculation here. 23, dry. Get the latest and apply that. Okay, so 6040 right now. 3.2, 3.6. Burning 400, so 60 tons landing weight. Low doesn't work. Medium does work. Give me manual thrust. Okay. So we actually have to use medium auto brake here. And the config full. Okay, that is fine with me. Looks like this is getting a little bit turbulent here when I'm looking outside. Well, now it's smoother again. Let's keep the belts off for a bit. Okay, I'll do a very quick PA and then I'm back with you. So 31, that is in 20 minutes. Ladies and gentlemen, from the flight deck, this is your captain speaking. We will start our descent towards Queenstown in a few moments, with a remaining flight time of approximately 20 minutes. The weather is good all around, and we already have a beautiful view on the terrain surrounding Queenstown right here from the flight deck. Due to some turbulence, we are already going to switch on the fasten seatbelt sign, so I ask you to return to your seats and keep your seatbelt fastened. Thank you for your attention and thank you for flying with us. We hope to see you again soon.
Ladies and gentlemen, the fasten seatbelt sign is now returned. Please return to your seats fastened.
Okay, so are you ready for the approach briefing then? So, your turn. Okay, thank you. So, the MSA is 10,000 within 15 miles of the field, thereafter 11,600. We'll fly the Eldorf arrival for the RNP Zulu approach, runway 23. Authorization required, and we have that. Minimum 2,709, and the go-around trajectory is going to be towards 10,000 feet, following the FMS waypoints. Extra fuel is about 6 minutes in the form of 200 kilograms. Okay, I fully agree on that. The approach will be guided by the final approach mode with a config full landing. Stop margin is about 200 meters using maximum reverse and auto brakes medium. Now the planned runway exit is going to be to the left hand side, probably from the very end. Okay, let's go ahead and start our descent real quick before we continue with the briefing. So down to 15 please. Speed descent alt flight level 150 blue. Okay, so for taxi in we don't have any hotspots. Now special operations, this is an RNP AR approach. We are going to fly this one out of the box. Let's just set the RNP over here, 0.3. Make sure that we have that. And for the approach itself, we are basically flying right through the valleys over here, so close tracking accuracy is required. Therefore, I am going to use the autopilot until we are clear of the clouds and until we get established on the final approach track. Now, in case of an engine failure within any part of the intermediate approach, we are still going to follow the ANAV routing, but we're going to start our climb. Be sure to maintain the speed 150 knots or slower until we have reached 10,000 feet, which is our missed approach altitude and the MSA at the same point in time. Alright, apart from that, when we get visual, we should be aligned with the runway. If we are not visual by the time we reach our minimum, we're going to go around following the standard missed approach procedure. Now, do we have anything else? Well, the minimum is pretty close to our cloud ceiling, so we are going to keep the autopilot in and we're going to commence our approach with the autopilot until we are visual. We can use the autopilot below the minimum, but we might get either an automatic disconnect or a disconnect autopilot for landing message on the PFD, which we are going to follow without any questions. Nonetheless, I will keep the autopilot in so that we can focus our views outside until we have the runway inside. Okay, threats for the arrival then. I see the terrain is the major threat, possibly wind shear. Now, what are we going to do with that? First of all, let's go ahead and turn the terrain display on so that we are aware of terrain as early as possible. I do see false terrain warnings as a possibility here, as it does tend to happen in many flight simulator aircraft. So when we get a GPWS warning and when we are not 100% sure that it is incorrect, we're going to execute the terrain escape maneuver. If, however, we are 100% sure that we get a false positive terrain warning, then we might switch the system off through the GPWS panel up here. We might just switch the entire terrain system off. Okay. Do you have any questions, comments or suggestions? No. Well, that's awesome, because that means our briefing is complete. So, looking straight ahead. Let's see. Looking outside and judging by our trajectory, I would say we're probably going in here. That looks to be our valley of choice for the approach. Maybe here, but I think that is too close. So probably somewhere over there. It's lovely looking outside into the terrain and just seeing those partial low-level clouds here. And then, of course, what happens around our destination? Right, it does get covered in clouds pretty much immediately. But, well, that stuff just happens. And, well, if that means we gotta go around and fly back to where we came from, then so be it. Okay, so down 10,000, set QNH. QNH 1010 cross-check, passing 16,900 now. Checked. Let's recycle the seatbelts. That's our signal to the cabin crew that we are now about 15 minutes from landing. By the way, in case you didn't notice, we constantly have a little bit of light turbulence here if you look outside. That's from active sky. That's pretty cool. Because flying that close to terrain like this, you can be pretty sure you are going to have turbulence. If you look at the wind here, 35 knots coming from over those hills over there, that is for sure going to induce some turbulence at the point where we are flying. So that's actually quite realistic what we're getting here. I am pretty happy with that. Quite beautiful indeed, isn't it? I really like it. I really do. Beautiful looking airplane. Fenix did a great job with that model, didn't they? Okay, so behind the next mountain, that's this one over there, we are going to start the left turn. So we come in over here, then over there. And indeed, that is where the clouds are. Just that little cloud bank, located right in that valley. But so be it. Not a lot we can do about it. So the airport's located somewhere over there, I believe. Okay then, we let the Airbus manage everything here ourselves. Let's set the altitude down. 2,709. So, 2,800 is set, and that makes 7,500 magenta. So, lights on, constraints. GPS primary, high accuracy, mode selector, norm. Perfect. Approach checklist. Barrel ref, QNH 1010. Seatbelts on, minimum. Barrow 2709. Auto brake, medium. Engine start cell, norm. Approach checklist complete. Company message, what do they want? Nope, you can do that on the ground, please. Definitely not gonna start worrying about delay messages when we're flying an approach like this. Okay, speed is nicely under control there. You can see the decel point is already located over here. That is with quite a few miles remaining. But remember, we are entering a valley over here, so doing that at 250 knots is already rather fast. Okay, here we go. So, we are cleared for the approach. Approach nav. Then the airport over here. Nah, not really. That dark part up there looked a little bit like it was a possible runway, but that would have been nice. But not for us. Okay, speed final approach. Okay, let's help it slow down a little bit. This turn over here might be hard to fly at 250 knots, so should definitely lose a bit of speed there. But you can very nicely see how the approach is designed and why. Really nice, isn't it? Okay, that might already be our airfield over there. And if it is clear of clouds. That would be superb. So, speed has come back nicely. I am surprised there is no speed restriction on here. But okay, it flies it nicely at 16 degrees of bank, easy going. Alright then. Spoilers in, flaps 1. Speed checked. Flaps 1. When flying an approach like this, you always got to keep in mind your total energy state and how far you've still got to fly. It's very easy just to look at the gauges here and see how the airplane is tracking properly, but how many miles do you have to the runway? What's your speed? What's your altitude? How is the profile looking? That's always something to keep an eye on. You can see the speed is a bit hard to get under control here, so we'll get those speed brakes out again.
Terrain ahead. Pull up.
That's what I meant. Spurious predictive wind shear. We can ignore that. Hello, Emmanuel here.
The cabin is now secure for landing.
Thank you. Okay, the runway is just about coming into view, meaning we've got 10 miles to run. You can see the speed is a little bit high for that. Gear down. Okay, now the speed is under control. Alright, flaps 2. Speed checked, flaps 2. Checked. Okay then, here comes a little bit of turbulence. Oh yeah, the wind is coming straight from the left, right over the mountain.
Terrain ahead. Pull up.
Disregard that. That's a spurious warning. Okay then, set Mr. Approach altitude 10,000. Set. Flaps 3. Speed checked. Flaps 3. Just a lovely look, isn't it?
Terrain ahead. Pull up.
Yeah. Off. Flaps full. Landing checklist. ECA memo. Landing no blue. Landing checklist complete. Okay, so there's our field right in front. Okay then, looks good to me. Autopilot off, auto thrust off, flight directors off, bird on. Here we go. So just the auto thrust didn't work, it seems. Well, so be it. Okay, perfect. That airplane is vacating, perfect. Why is it turning around? Welcome to the AI, okay. Well, I can't be bothered with that. Remove traffic, thank you. Welcome to the AI world. Okay, so looking good. Rising terrain here in front of the runway, very easy to get a visual illusion.
200, 100, 50, 40, 30, 20, retard.
Okay, spoiler, reverse, green, decel. Can't quite make the exit. Manual brakes. We'll have to backtrack. Okay, welcome to Queenstown. That was a beautiful approach. Okay, so we are going to backtrack right over here. Losing quite a bit of speed. Let's use the outboard engine to help it a bit. And the inboard as well to prevent it from stopping. You really don't want your plane to stop in a turn like this. Otherwise you can be sure you will need to open up the radius of the turn quite a bit to get it back to rolling. But here we are. Nice. Okay then.
Ladies and gentlemen, the cabin crew will shortly be leaving their seats to perform safety-related duties. However, we are
Okay, everything's back on.
until the fasten seatbelt sign has been switched off.
And here we are.
Messaging, calls,
So, parking stands please. Parking somewhere over here. Stand 3 I believe.
checking in seat pockets,
GSX, main apron, Romeo 3.
opening the overhead
And we don't need to follow me, thank you.
Smoking is not permitted until you reach a designated smoking area. On behalf of the captain and the crew, it has been our pleasure looking after you today. Our ground crew will help you complete your journey.
Okay. Runway is vacated, strobe lights going off. Stand number 3 is just a slight turn to the left over here, and then we've made it already. So, number 3, here it is. APU is available, engine 2 shut down. Electric hydraulic pump on. And I once again still forgot to turn off those interesting markings, let's call them like that. So, brake set. Cabin crew, all doors in park. Alright. Number 1 is rolling down. Doors are in park. Let's get rid of those GSX windows. Okay. After landing and parking checklist, radar and predictive wind shear off. After landing checklist complete. Parking checklist. Park and brake shocks. That's the brake set. Engines off. Wing light off. Fuel pumps off. Parking checklist complete. Alright then, you may commence deboarding, please. Look at that, they took an eternity to load the cargo, but for unloading they seem pretty quick over here. Or at least with opening the doors. Yeah, look at that. They're just about starting already. That's pretty cool. Okay then, that's it. We made it. All the way to Queenstown. So, opening up. And here we are, my friends. So, thank you very much for flying along. I do hope you enjoyed this one. If you did, be sure to let me know in the comments below. I'm looking forward to your feedback. And as always, if you're up for more, don't forget to like and comment, as it does really help out the channel, and subscribe, as that is going to make you aware of new videos sooner. Thank you very much for watching, everyone, and with that, all I can say is see you all again on the next one, and I do hope that you have enjoyed this one. If you really like what I'm doing, I would appreciate a small donation through the Buy Me Coffee link in the video description below. And until then, I'd like to say thank you very much, and see you all again on the next one.